The second season of House of David ends with more betrayals, revelations, and divine showdowns than anyone expected, pushing every major character into their darkest crossroads yet. It's a finale packed with spiritual warfare, political collapse, family implosions, and the long-awaited confrontation between Saul and Samuel, a moment that shakes the kingdom to its core and seals the fate of Israel's first king. Welcome back to Your Nerdy Show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master, and today we're breaking down the explosive ending of House of David Season 2 and exploring what these events mean for Season 3 as the battle for Israel's throne approaches its most brutal phase. This finale doesn't just close a chapter, it completely reshapes the battlefield. David steps closer to his destiny. Saul slips further into madness and moral decay. Samuel spends the last of his strength to deliver one final divine warning, and the house of Saul fractures beyond repair. With new enemies rising, old alliances breaking, and hidden conspirators finally stepping into the light, the stage is set for a season that could redefine the entire series. What happens when Saul and Samuel finally face off? One of the most anticipated moments in the entire series has been the confrontation between King Saul and Prophet Samuel, whose relationship has been disintegrating since the very beginning. Their bond once defined Israel's early years, but as Saul drifted away from divine instruction and Samuel refused to support his corrupt decisions, their partnership began to crumble. Season 2 pushes that conflict into the public eye, especially after Samuel openly defied Saul at the tabernacle, making their differences impossible to hide. When Saul marches toward the city of Nob to capture David, Samuel steps in one last time, and this confrontation is easily one of the most powerful scenes of the season. Samuel doesn't fight with weapons or soldiers. His strength has always come from his spiritual connection to God, and that connection now manifests in terrifying ways. With nothing but his prayers and gestures, he unleashes fear, confusion, and disorientation across Saul's army. It almost feels supernatural. Samuel standing alone against an entire battalion, yet holding them back through sheer spiritual force. But the real terror unfolds inside the psychological realm Samuel traps Saul in. This space is a projection of Saul's own corruption, a symbolic hell where those who have strayed too far from righteousness are forced to confront the truth about themselves. Earlier in the season, we saw Samuel trap Doeg in this same mental prison. Now it's Saul's turn. Inside this realm, Saul sees his greatest fear, David reflected in a pool of water, crowned as the true king of Israel. Samuel forces him to speak David's name, a symbolic admission of defeat and recognition of God's will. It's a devastating moment because Saul has spent so much time trying to deny or rewrite destiny. Now, stripped of all excuses, he must confront a truth he can no longer escape. And yet, the second he wakes from the vision, he refuses to accept it. Every shred of morality, guilt, and hesitation he once carried disappears. His fear is gone. His conscience is gone. All that remains is a desperate, twisted need to cling to power at any cost. This marks a complete transformation of Saul's character. Before this moment, he could still blame his actions on fear, insecurity, or misunderstanding. But after directly witnessing God's message, continuing his pursuit of David becomes outright rebellion against the divine. Samuel, meanwhile, pays the ultimate price. He uses the last of his strength and life to deliver this message, sacrificing himself in one final attempt to save both Saul and David. His death marks the end of an era. Without Samuel, Israel loses its spiritual anchor, and Saul loses the one person who ever truly tried to guide him. This raises a huge question for Season 3. Who becomes the new spiritual advisor of Israel? Samuel's wife Helah is the most likely candidate, given her prophetic insight and moral clarity, but the series may also introduce a new figure to step into that role. Why the tragedy at Nob changes everything. Once Saul snaps back into reality, he immediately continues his march to Nob. The head priest, unaware of Saul's rage, answers truthfully. He explains that David came seeking help and that he entrusted him with Goliath's sword. He doesn't lie or defy the king. He simply doesn't have the answers Saul wants. That's enough for Saul to order the entire city to be destroyed. This moment is crucial because it reveals who Saul has become. When Abner, his lifelong friend and commander, refuses to carry out the order, it's the first real pushback Saul has ever received from his own people. Abner kneels, admitting he cannot kill holy men, and the rest of the soldiers follow his lead. This act of defiance should have made Saul stop and rethink his actions, but instead, it exposes how far he has fallen. Saul turns to the hooded mercenaries, Doeg's faction, the same mysterious group that once captured Eshbal during his exile. These men don't care about Israel, its laws, or its faith. They carry out the massacre without hesitation. Saul doesn't question their violence. He doesn't doubt their motives. He doesn't show even a moment of remorse. This is the moment Saul officially stops being the king of Israel. His true army refuses to obey him, so he replaces them with hired killers who have no loyalty to the kingdom. By embracing these mercenaries, Saul effectively hands control of Israel to outsiders with their own secret agendas. Season 3 will likely explore the consequences of this reckless alliance, as these mercenaries tighten their grip over Gibeah and manipulate Saul into becoming their puppet.
And again. But he never listens and he never has.
How King Achish reacts to the chaos. While chaos erupts across Israel, King Achish of Gath observes everything closely. He has never forgotten his hatred for David, the man who killed Goliath and humiliated the Philistines. Throughout Season 2, we see him watching from a distance, analyzing every betrayal, every misstep, every sign that Israel is weakening from within. The moment Achish learns that David is now a fugitive hunted by his own king, he realizes Israel is vulnerable. The Philistines have always seen Israel as dangerous when united, but now, divided and spiritually broken, it presents the perfect opportunity. Achish is likely to strike soon, taking advantage of the chaos before David's supporters fully rally around him. Achish may also attempt a political maneuver, perhaps offering temporary refuge to David or trying to manipulate Saul into an alliance. But his ultimate goal remains simple: destroy Israel's unity and claim victory where Goliath failed.
You betray the God who anointed you!
The children of Saul are torn apart. The family drama in the house of Saul is now at its breaking point. Jonathan, who has always been the voice of reason and morality, tries one last time to convince his father to stop this destructive pursuit. When Saul attacks him physically in front of others, Jonathan finally realizes there is nothing left to save. He walks away, choosing to stand with David instead, not for ambition, but for righteousness. Merab and Michelle, however, choose loyalty to their father, even when it means betraying their own heart. Michelle sacrifices her marriage to David, and Merab lies to protect her sister. Their loyalty is tragic, built on fear and a desperate hope that the man who raised them still exists somewhere beneath the cruelty. Eshbal, on the other hand, becomes the wild card. His motivations are self-centered and dangerous. He aligns with the hooded mercenaries, the same ones he encountered during exile, and forms a shadowy alliance that now threatens to overthrow Saul entirely. In many ways, Eshbal is just as dangerous as Saul, if not more so, because his actions are motivated not by fear, but by ambition and resentment. Season 3 will likely explore the fallout of these choices, revealing how far the sisters will go before they realize they're supporting the wrong side, and whether Jonathan's loyalty to David will clash with his lingering love for his family.
The King of Edom.
The so-called King of Edom arrives. Toward the end of the season, the King of Edom enters Gibeah, but his identity is far more complicated than his title suggests. He's the same man who took Eshbaal hostage earlier, and the alliance he formed with the prince appears far more dangerous now. On the surface, he claims to have helped Israel during their grain shortage, but his true aim is to infiltrate and eventually claim control over the kingdom. It's increasingly likely he isn't a king at all, but the leader of the mercenaries, using Eshbaal's anger and Saul's desperation to stage a slow, calculated takeover. If this theory holds, then Saul has unknowingly allowed a foreign enemy to walk directly into the capital. That setup alone could shape the entire plot of Season 3.
We are here to serve you.
What's next for David and King Saul? The final moments of Season 2 reveal a clear shift in Israel's power dynamics. Saul is losing support from every direction. His soldiers no longer trust him. His children are splitting apart. His alliances are built on lies and manipulation. Meanwhile, David grows stronger with each passing moment. His friends stand by him. New allies arrive. And even the people of Israel slowly begin accepting him as the rightful king. What happens next feels inevitable. Saul's pride and corruption will continue to drag him into battles he cannot win, while David's path becomes clearer and heavier with responsibility. Season 3 will be the season that decides the fate of both men, the fall of Saul and the rise of David.
Saul was like a father to me.
He was.
Our nerdy thoughts. And that wraps up everything we know so far about the intense, game-changing finale of House of David Season 2, along with all the major clues pointing toward an even darker and more dramatic Season 3, with Saul sinking deeper into corruption, David rising with new allies, and hidden enemies tightening their grip on Israel. The next chapter is shaping up to be the most violent and unpredictable yet. Every prophecy, every betrayal, and every fractured bond is leading straight toward a clash that will decide not just the fate of a kingdom, but the legacy of every character we've followed since the very beginning. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives, theories, and episode-by-episode explorations, make sure you stay tuned. We've got plenty more coming your way. Don't forget to like, share, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because House of David fans always bring the best theories. Until next time, this is Spoiler Master signing off from your nerdy show, and I'll be back soon with another breakdown.
Now what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.